18 February, 12:52 p.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Naruhodo, I managed to find out what happened. Miss Susato. I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? A type of explosive device that releases smoke? It sounds like some sort of thing ninjas use. They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. A young girl? Then could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilded was just talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilded, actually? There are so many things I need to ask him about. But he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions, along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers, which means the figure doesn't seem to add up again. She's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed into the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Miss Susato. Yes! 18 February, 1 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. There's the young girl next to Mr. McGilded, look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Zykes. My lord? I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which veiled proceedings earlier? It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious, the army? What in the devil's name? It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior? If I may, my lord. Yes, Mr. McGilded. I think perhaps I ought to explain here why it is that this wheel ass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that. It's all tied up in the events of that night, so it is. Very well, Mr. McGilded, give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case. Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. Witness testimony. The young girl. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, begorrah! A loud, sudden wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I sat him up on the seat across me. Then I turned to find out that the scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus, is that correct? That's exactly as the defense counsel said. This lass was the 5th passenger, my lord. Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Are you ready, counsel? Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Cross-examination.
Hold it!
You sat him up, the victim, you mean? That I did, on the seat across from me. As I said, I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? It's common courtesy, so it is. I find that a little hard to believe. Oh, Lord Van Zykes, now why would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business. The business of lending money at extortionate rates of interest? Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no. I was already intending to report it, so I was. Only I had a mind to find out the whys and whereofs first. The whys and whereofs? Wherefores? Right you are. There was some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. The wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do the same? Yes. The scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing.
Hold it!
I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under my backside. Good gracious. Under your backside? And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there a wee cubbyhole there for storage. Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yes, of course, the whole bus was submitted as evidence. This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside. And that's when I found her. We already found the cubbyhole, so yeah, that checks out.
Hold it!
You say she was hiding herself. Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball when our eyes met. Well, my heart nearly stopped beating in my chest. You're really overacting this. Still and all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chinwag with her. The seat opposite? That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there. You sat this young girl next to a corpse, sir? Oh, as I'm sure you mentioned. A gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream, a fella's voice this time. Presumably the scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Look down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with a knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witness did not in fact see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. As I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage, out of sight. It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused perhaps with this young girl. After that, of course. With a scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. I do wonder how you must be feeling, Mr. Naruhodo. Being the defendant's lawyer and yet finding myself as stunned as everyone else at his testimony, let's just say it's trying. We certainly had precious little time to talk to Mr. McGilded before the trial. But we mustn't be dispirited, we must just try to learn all the facts we can. When we arrived in London this morning, it didn't seem my day panning out like this. Mr. Naruhodo, no grumbling, even in your head. How did you know?
Hold it!
And when you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There was not. The cabin was empty, and there was no one on the roof deck either. You were the first passenger, as it were. I see. Aye, and that's why I took the back side as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means. 'Tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite to the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis most comfortable and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. What am I supposed to do here? That's blood, isn't it? Something wrong? Oh, it's just, well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet Van Zykes has made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Hold on, there was stuff in here. This is a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. The storage compartment's empty. Hold on, we've been in here before. That blood stain and the storage compartment weren't in that shape. Hold on. I'm sure there was stuff inside the storage compartment.
Hold it!
A loud thud, you say, and a scream. Hey, that's right. How can I explain it? It was like the sound of someone falling to the ground, that sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor having been stabbed? Well now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me up and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fellow on the floor. You didn't see anyone, but at the same moment, you did hear a scream. Ah, from the seat above, or you on the roof deck, I presume? Not above me, no, my lord. It was from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes. Thank you, I've heard enough. The events, as explained, are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is this girl? Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. Lestrade? She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowd, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. What? A girl here? A petty thief? Order! Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. Oh! What was that? How dare you? What is the meaning of this? Ah! The girl! She's gone! Open your eyes! I'm over here. I'm over here. I'm over here. Good gracious, how? What was the point of that little sidestep? I know what you... Good luck will Rob Boffin shakes hands with you. I know what your lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. I know what your lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught on the jaw. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. Go on, that's what's in your heads, ain't it? No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth. Now cast. Accusations. Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs. Oh, this? Yeah, this was in a bag I left the other day, down where they keep the four-wheel drags. It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best. Ah, don't wave that thing in my direction again. So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question. It's alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now. Alright, yeah? It's just like the Irishman said. The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in the case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question. Alright, if I have to. what the girl saw. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up to the horse just like always. I was a right old waste of time and got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I'll tell you, I can't see a blind thing in that hiding place and it's pitch in there. Then after a while, I heard this loud bang. Nearly jumped out of my skin, I did, and the scream just came out. It's because of that 'tis swell found me. He did help me get away, mind. I can't find a voice. Yes, he let you go. I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded. Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for. This is where I was sat that night. And the cubbyhole of which you have spoken is underneath this seat, I presume? Yes, it does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of that girl's stature. Aye, but of course, the wee lass was stuck in there. Because I parked myself on the seat for the duration. Oh! So you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was an innocent. Even though you must have realized your action would result in your own innocence being called into question? Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass. My goodness! What a perfect gentleman! My lord! This fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Saints alive! Are all 6 members of the jury consensual in their leaning to a verdict of not guilty? Mr. Naruhodo, this... well, it must mean... It must mean what? That we're victorious! We've... won? Are you sure?
Objection!
If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. The iron-heeled Wellington! This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices, where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day. Emotion? The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean, his true nature? You really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the proprietor's seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in the black and white here in the police report. Good Lord. The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilded's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. What? Order! Order! How could such a devious contrivance possibly have infected counsel? Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Well, my Nipponese friend. Me? When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the under-seat compartment to be? Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead, you tell the court now, fella. Oh, this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zykes. Well, counsel, do you have something to say on this matter? How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat in the omnibus? It wasn't empty, we looked. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my cause as counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least, when I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it, yes. Are you sure, counsel? That'll be whist. What are you saying now, you daft doll? I thought you were on my side here. What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what fact I do know as clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting. It's not altogether pleasing, fella. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, I don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then. A fellow's memory is a curious thing and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That the cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. You think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken? Why? Why do I feel like something's not right here? I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think. That compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The Guild's rules state that omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That money-lending fleecer and the pick-purse are lying. Ah! I can't believe I was nearly taken in! The stinking rich are always stinkers, nothing but cowards, the lot of them! What? Oh no! It's a trick, of course it's a trick! Quite so. I must concur here. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. Thank you, counsel. But before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witnesses, please. Yes, my lord. What just happened?